Good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever it is to you while you're watching this video. Brady Ridings.
Josiah LeBeau.
With Brown's Pressure Washing here in Nashville, Tennessee, multi-million-dollar pressure washing company, here to give you 4 ways to diffuse an angry customer.
We don't ever have those.
No, we've never had a callback.
What is that?
I don't know. And we've done like a lot of work somewhere.
But we're going to talk about it today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Just because we may have had a situation like last week that something happened.
If somebody else had a situation last week where someone called back and like the customer was angry or whatever, here's like what we would have done in your situation. We don't exactly know it, so take it as a grain of salt. But anyways, we're going to give you these 4 steps. The first step is going to be show up. Michael Scott in The Office, he goes to that college for when he hires the temp Ryan, and the temp is like, they're all asking questions inside this business school of like, hey, what do you do when you have a business that's like coming out of business and like more stuff's happening on the internet? And he said, real business is done in paper. I say real business is done in person. If you really want to take effect, be able to read body language, have the other person read your body language, at the very least, do it on the phone.
Yeah.
But if you have an opportunity, you need to show up in person.
Have a lot of communication. Usually if someone calls and they're like, hey, you damaged my gutters, the office is taking that. They're going to say, okay, we're going to have our operations guy give you a call, and he's going to help resolve this. That usually ends up getting sent to me or you. And what do? Do we just wait? Like, oh, shoot, I got to call this customer? Or do we call them? We got to call them immediately.
Immediately make the phone call. Try to set an appointment to get out there. Doing it in person is also beneficial to you because it's a lot easier over the phone, especially behind a keyboard, for someone to be very rude.
Yeah.
We like to call those keyboard warriors. But if you show up in person, it's a lot harder to tell someone no to their face, or you did this and I know more than you, when you're in person. Second step is going to be to shut up. Shut your mouth.
Yeah, don't talk. So you've already made contact with the customer. You're now showing up to their house. You're now introducing yourself. Hey, Josiah here with Browns. I got a message from the office. They said you got some concerns about some dead plants or some damaged, gutters or whatever it might be. And then just shut up. Let them talk.
Let them talk as long as they'll talk. Continue to ask questions, making them talk even more and more. It sounds counterintuitive. If you walk out to somebody's property with the mindset that you're already right and they're already wrong, 2 things is happening. You might actually be wrong, and the person is going to feel that when you show up. What the person actually probably wants, what the client actually probably wants, is to just at the very least be heard.
Yeah.
You feel like as a customer, from their standpoint, you feel taken advantage of when you have a perception that someone has damaged something on your property or done something to it or didn't do the job well enough, where all you want is an opportunity typically to say that to somebody. So a lot of the show up part too, just by showing up and shutting up, sometimes can resolve a lot of issues immediately because the answer they'll a lot of times talk themselves into.
Yeah. And sometimes that's just all they want. They don't even care to actually have someone come back out or fix something. They just want to be heard.
Yeah. Third step, sustain. This is the hardest for most people, I would say, because if you've gotten there, you've done the first step, you've shown up, you've done the second step, you've shut up. Now it is your time to listen and research. Mm-hmm. So you're wanting to use your active listening muscle to actively listen to the client, not waiting for your opportunity to speak or thinking about your rebuttal during them talking. You're wanting to practice active listening where you're actually just consuming what they're saying. And then you're researching to find out, first of all, is this person actually right?
Right. Doing a bit of a Columbo effect, asking questions, listening, pulling back, looking at the whole picture, and really you're investigating the situation.
100%. And so the sustain portion, I think, is a lot of times what people struggle with, because we had a situation the other day where a client had called us out and she talked to me. I sustained and shut up for what felt like the better part of 45 minutes. And that is a tall order, actually.
Yeah.
When you're being compared to this lady compared our business and us who run it to a drunk pilot. I mean, she was pulling out some stuff, man, some stories. And they're just verbally basically abusing you. In our experience, there's a balance between listening and being taken advantage of. And
absorbing it and being just insulted.
Yeah, letting someone walk all over you. I don't want you guys to get the impression that we just do that, but ultimately, if you're allowing people to speak and speak very rawly, they'll typically get those things out, and eventually you'll move to a place where you say, okay, all of that has been said. Yep. What do we now do to find a middle ground? Might I add, while she was verbally assaulting me and our business, she was totally wrong, and I knew it. And so by shutting up and sustaining, I was able to let her get her entire piece out before I was able to hit her with the knowledge. You don't just come right out of the truck and start saying, hey, let me go over here. I don't have enough. Wrong. Yeah, I don't have enough time. Let me go tell you why you're wrong. That doesn't really communicate love at all. It really doesn't communicate that you value the relationship. And at the end of the day, it's not about winning the argument. It's about winning the relationship. Everything we do in our business is all about winning the relationship. It's not about winning the job. It's about winning the relationship. So we want a customer for life for two reasons. One, obvious. We want to have the money continue to flow through the business. Two, we actually enjoy relationships. We believe them to be the currency of life. So we want to value those. By shutting up and sustaining, you're giving somebody an opportunity to speak. So they will now absorb what you have to say when you have those moments to talk.
You said something earlier today in our Mastermind Monday. You said matching tonality. Do you want to kind of dive into that? Because I think that's important to this stage of the resolving process. So what do you mean by matching tonality? What does it look like to do that?
Yeah, so in the sustain and the shut up, they kind of run together, but the sustain portion more so is when you're going to, so when you get called out for a callback, you don't want to come right out of the truck with what you know the solution is or they're wrong, but you also don't want to come out with, okay, I need to change this person from mad to happy. So you get out of the truck and you're like, hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm so sorry this happened. What can I do to? That's really not the resolution that you're looking for. You want to match whether they're somber, angry, you want to come alongside that journey because it really diffuses the situation and makes it, hey, I'm on your side. Let's figure out where we get to resolve this. By matching that tonality, if they're angry, in a hurry, just upset, match that. Man, I'm so sorry. Let's go take a look at this. You can almost, your business is a little theatrical, right? Business is a little theatrical. You can sometimes not tell a lie, but lie to yourself like, oh, man, I can't believe this happened. Let's just go take a look at it. Because it comes off as, okay, this guy's not here immediately to just be like, hey, let me tell you why you're wrong.
I like to imagine myself stepping beside them and looking at what they're looking at the same time. So I'm going to step into their position and be like, I could see how I think I'm hiring the best company in Nashville, and then they come out and do this when the salesman told me that they wouldn't. Like, that's really frustrating. And even just saying that out loud. So when we go from shutting up to sustaining, or sustaining to the fourth step, which would be serve, reflecting on their position. And so, and my wife's a counselor. She does all these ninja moves on me after work, but she will reflect on my words and she will say, it sounds like you've had a long day because of this, this, and this. And I'll be like, that's exactly how I feel. And it feels so good to be heard. And that is a great way to tell someone, I hear what you're saying. A lot of times I'll do that. Hey, Miss Jones, it kind of sounds like you wish that the technicians would have spent a little bit more time on rinsing the plants instead of trying to hurry up and leave to go to the next job. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. They love that. That really affirms how they feel. And it's a good transition to step number 4.
So step number 4 is going to be to serve. That can mean many things. So I'll start out by saying the obvious. If you're in business to win relationships and not just a bunch of money and a bunch of accounts and a bunch of whatever else comes along with that, if you're in it to win relationships, the obvious part of serving is, what can I do to make it right? If it's your fault, that's obvious. Don't try to skirt around it. Mm-hmm. If you do, this channel is probably not for you. But if you're in it to win relationships, serve the person, make it right, figure out what they're after, which is what the first 3 steps are about, then do what they need done. Flip side of the same coin, you can still serve someone even when you know they're wrong and you're right, and you don't have to do it by lying to yourself. It all comes through the first 3 steps, which ends up bringing the 4th step in, which is what do we have to do to get to the middle ground? So ultimately, I spent an hour and a half at this person's house, but the first hour of it was letting her talk so I could then come in and say my part and say, can you see how this is possible? Ultimately, we have a lot of experience in the particular situation that she was bringing up, and I was able to present that to her, which built trust, rapport, that I knew what I was talking about, and this is just a fluke thing, just trust me. And through the first 3 steps is how you build trust to get to the servanthood side. So 2 parts to the serve. You can serve when you're wrong, for sure, and should be. And you can also serve when you're in the right and they're in the wrong. And either way you slice that cookie is going to decide whether or not you value relationships over just profitability. We all know we have to have profitability in business for sure, but you'll have more of it in the long term if you nurture all of your relationships.
There have been plenty of times where we've been in the wrong and we've served that customer and we've made things right, and they've called us back out the next year for a house wash. And like, these could be not small things. These could be big things. I remember one time, I don't know if I should be sharing the story or not, but I'm going to. Scott, we can cut this out if it's too much, but we had a guy and he basically was hauling a trailer. The hitch size was too small, and the trailer was just sitting on top of the ball hitch. And he was going through a neighborhood, hit a speed bump, trailer comes off of the truck, smashes into a brick mailbox, destroys it. The trailer lands in the front yard, and I get a call about this. I'm like, oh my goodness, what in the world? We ended up rebuilding this person's mailbox and sending her a card with a gift card in it. And she called us. This is not a customer. She called us, I think 3 or 4 months later, and she had us come out and clean our driveway and seal it. And I'm like, our trailer came off the truck, destroyed her mailbox, random person, and then she's like, hey, thanks, will you come clean my driveway? That's so crazy. That's serving the customer. That's showing up when something goes wrong and loving the customer well.
And to cap all of this off, at this point, the 4th step being serve gives you an opportunity to build credibility and the right reputation of your company that you want. We have upwards of 2,000 5-star reviews at this point, and you do not get those reviews by not showing back up when things don't go your way. There's 2 good parts to that story. One is it's just factual. It's just true. We have gone not the extra mile. I think it's the mile that already has to be walked based off the bed that you made. But 2, it gives you an opportunity to sell to new clients that way. Hey, we've got upwards of 2,000 5-star reviews. You don't get those 2,000 5-star reviews by being perfect and right the first time. You get it when things go wrong and you show back up. The lady that called us this last week was originally calling us to replace something that was thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. From a standpoint that was actually incorrect and false, it was a false narrative from the get-go. After spending the time taking these 4 steps, she ended up not only paying for us to clean the patio again, gave the technician a $100 tip, and left a 5-star review.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to see.
And that speaks about a company. When you can look at our reviews, I know that not all of those reviews were 5-star reviews. I know that some of them were 1-star reviews and 2-star reviews and 3-star reviews. But we showed back up, we came back out, and we said, what do we have to do to make this a 5-star experience? Because that is our goal, and that's the only reason why we're here, is because we want to give you a 5-star experience. And we didn't get, and it's the same thing, we didn't get all the other ones because we did a perfect job the first time. We're learning. We've got new guys. We've got young guys join the company, and they're learning too. Not everybody's got 10 years of experience underneath their belt.
Yeah, and I would say 2 things. One, these 4 steps are not always going to be easy. It's typically not. It's not a fun time. That's why the sustain portion is in there. You're letting people basically verbally abuse you even when you know you're correct.
Yeah.
But giving people the pedestal to speak makes them feel heard, which will open their ears to accept what you have to say. And so I would say if you do these 4 steps, I believe it will yield you better relational results, better reviews for the business, and therefore better profitability.
If you guys want more information on this, comment down below any questions or situations that you've had resulting in an angry customer. I know we've definitely got a list of things, but comment down below and we'll address them actually on our Monday morning mastermind. It's 9 a.m. to 9:30 every Monday morning. We've got, I think, maybe 45 weeks left. It's free. Show up, YouTube Live, and we can address that then.
Subscribe, hit the notification bell to know when we go live, as well as when we upload new videos. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate all of you and look forward to getting to know you.